Hi all. Here we'll discuss the numericals relating to the business decision under uncertainty. So I request everyone to take few sheets of paper and a pen to solve out the problems which we are gonna discuss further. We have already discussed that business decision under uncertainty have 5 different approaches. The first is the maxi-max approach, that is the optimistic approach. Second is the maxi-minimum approach, that is pessimistic approach. Then mini-max approach, Laplace criterion, and the fifth is the Savage principle. So let's start with the numericals. The first question is as follows: the following metrics give the payoff of different strategies, that is alternatives S1, S2 and S3 against the condition or the events, that is N1, N2, N3 and N4. Indicate the decision taken under pessimistic, optimistic and equal probability approach. Here pessimistic approach indicates the maxi-minimum criterion, optimistic approach is the maxi-max criterion, and the equal probability approach is about the Laplace criterion. So first, let's start with the pessimistic approach. The pessimistic approach, what the other name for pessimistic approach is maxi-minimum criterion. So as the name suggests, maxi-minimum criterion, from the alternatives we have to find the minimum value first and then select the maximum value. First we have to select the minimum value, then we will select the maximum value. That's how we'll take the pessimistic approach. So let's consider the 3 alternatives, that is S1, S2 and S3. So when we are considering S1, S2 and S3, let's consider this horizontal path. These are the alternatives S1, S2 and S3. So from these 3 we have to select the minimum criterion. First, from S1 the minimum value is minus 100. From S2 the minimum value is 0. And from S3 the minimum value is minus 2000. So from these 3 minimum values we have to select the maximum value. So from these 3 minimum values the maximum value can be selected as 0. And 0 is related with S2 approach. You must have noted that this 0 value is related with S2. So the alternative S2 will be chosen. This is how you find the pessimistic approach. Now moving on to the optimistic approach. In the case of optimistic approach, the maxi-max criterion have to be followed. So from all these 3 alternatives we have to select the maximum value, and from that maximum value again we will select the maximum value. So from S1 the maximum value is 18,000, and from S2 the maximum value is 20,000, and S3 the maximum value is again 20,000. So from these 3, 18,000, 20,000 and 20,000, the maximum value is again 20,000, isn't it? So 20,000 will be chosen, and this 20,000 is related to S2 and S3. So both the alternatives S2 and S3 will be chosen. This is how you find for maxi-max approach. Then the thing is about the Laplace criterion or equal probability approach. In the case of Laplace criterion or equal probability approach, what we have to consider is this alternatives and this 4 events. These 4 events have to be taken into consideration. In this there are 4 events. Sometimes there might be 2 events or 3 events or 5 events, it depends. Here the 4 events have to be taken into consideration. So as generally you might be know how to find the average. In the case of average of S1 have to be taken. So the average of S1, taking the average of S1, here we can find S1 is equal to 4000 plus minus 100 plus 6000 plus 18,000. Since there are 4 events, divided by 4 have to be done. That's what it is being computed over here. S1 is equal to 1 by 4 of 4000 plus minus 100 plus 6000 plus 18,000. This is how you find the payoff of S1. Similarly, find for S2 and S3. Then once you find the values of S1, S2 and S3, then what you have to do is that from these three, find the maximum value. So from this S1, S2 and S3, the maximum payoff is given by S3. So S3 will be chosen to make the decision. This is how you find for Laplace criterion. Now let's consider the next question that is related with the minimax criterion. Consider the cost matrix table given below. Determine the best action using minimax criterion. That's what the question is. Here we have 4 alternatives and 5 events. So the thing is that here what we have to do is that the name suggests mini-max criterion. So mini-max criterion, in the case of mini-max criterion, first we have to find the maximum value of all the 4 alternatives, then select the minimum value. So this is how you find for the mini-max criterion. So from S1 the maximum value is 1125. From S2 the maximum value is 3000. From S3 the maximum value is 4125, and S4 the maximum value is 4500. So from this 4 we have to select the minimum value. So from this 4 the minimum value is 1125, and this 1125 is related with S1. So S1 will be chosen. This is how you do for the mini-max criterion. Now let's move on to the last, that is the Savage principle. In order to find the Savage principle, this is the question. The payoff matrix is given below. The alternatives and the events are given. And when the alternatives are given, here 3 alternatives and 3 events are given. Here first what we have to do is that on getting this table, make a similar table like this, but do not enter these values. Do not enter those values. What you have to do is just make the table first. Then we have to take each column into consideration. First let's consider the low value. So if the low nature is selected, which is the maximum value in this low? The maximum value over here is 15. So take that 15. 15 minus 15, you will get 0. That will be written over here. Then it is 15 minus 14, that is equal to 1, will be written over here. Then 15 minus 8, that is 7, that will be written over here. These are the values we kept. Write it in your table. And similarly, again select the medium column. From that medium column, the maximum value is 17. So 17 minus 15, you will get 2. Then 17 minus 17, you will get 0. Then 17 minus 9, you will get 8. This is what to do here. Now similarly again select the last failure column. Here the maximum value is 19. 19 minus 15, you will get 4. Then 19 minus 17, you will get 2. Then 19 minus 19, you will get 0. That should be written in this column. So once this table is made, from this table now you have to select the maximum values from this table. So from small facility the maximum value is 4, then medium facility the maximum value is 2, and from large facility the maximum value is 8. Now from this maximum value you have to select the minimum value. So from 4, 2 and 8 the minimum value is 2, and this 2 is related with medium facility, and this medium facility will be chosen. This is how you solve for the Savage principle. So thank you. Hope you understood.